Hey guys, Tammy here. And in this video, I want to talk to you about identity. We get into these struggles in life, and if you're dealing with child custody issues and a high conflict ex and all that kind of thing, one of my recent podcasts was, the struggle is real, right? But it's real easy to start internalizing that and feeling like this struggle in and of itself is our identity, and it's not. If you like these videos and you're getting a lot of value from them, please don't forget to hit like and also subscribe to the channel so you get notified as new videos come out. So the identity piece is really important because, we talk about how when things hit your self-identity, it really can have really devastating effects. You can become hopeless. You can feel like this event is your life. And so it can be kind of all consuming. What happens to you is not the same as who you are. Okay. So again, I've been using the example that I'm obviously walking through right now of losing Thomas. And so, am I a widow? Yes. Are you divorced or separated from your ex? Yes. Do you have children with them? Yes. But that one event of that breakup or that co-parenting issue or my loss or whatever it is not in and of itself our identity. And the reason that's important is because when you start to define yourself just by an event that happened to you, this is when people start to have anxiety and they start to have depression and they start to struggle with those kinds of issues. Because if I feel like this child custody struggle that I'm having and my interaction with my ex and all the things that are making my life difficult on a day-to-day basis is who I am. This is just who I am. This is my life. Then you're not going to be able to be your best self. You're not going to be able to get up and start each day with hope and enthusiasm. You're going to be finding reasons to lay in bed and not get up and not have to do things. And so this concept of your self-identity is really, really important, and understanding that the things that happen are outside of your identity. And then the things that happen are things that we have choices around, right? Because if we just say, oh, this is just who I am, this is just the way I am, this is just how I've always been, that's part of absorbing that into our identity. And then we behave in concert with how we view ourselves. Then we are behaving in ways that reinforce those struggles that we're having, and that we are the type of person that struggles and that has all of these difficult things in life. It does make it really, really easy to feel hopeless, when you're having this kind of level of stress. But here's what you have to remind yourself is this is a season of life, right? And there's a season for everything. And different parts of your life are for different seasons. When we're young and we're, going through school and we're doing all those things and we're a teenager and we're trying to find ourselves and our self-identity, and we're, exploring that through friends and the things we do and the experiences we have. And then in your 20s, I think for most of us, I got married. And so in my 20s, I was already creating a family. But for a lot of us, we're in school and trying to get our career off the ground and be able to earn money and support ourselves and all those things. And then I think in your 30s is usually a time by which people are married and have started a family and all that kind of thing. And then, you're child rearing then, right? That's your season for at least 20 years or so. And then you get into a season where you don't have children at home and you have maybe grandkids and other things. And so, your seasons might not be on that exact track, but there is a season for all these different things. Right now, just because you're in a season of struggle and just because you're in a season of dealing with a difficult co-parent and you're very busy raising children and it can seem overwhelming and all of those things, this doesn't last. You have to be able to find the joyful moments in what you're doing. And a lot of that comes from your ability to say, who am I? What is my identity? For me personally, I have shared, that I'm a believer. And so a lot of my identity comes from Christ. And so if I have my eye to that, I am going to be okay in light of losing my husband. Not that that's easy. It hasn't by any means been easy, but it doesn't define who I am. And so you have to be able to take this struggle that you're having and say, this is my struggle right now. This is the season of life I'm in right now. But who am I as a person? Because who I am as a person will affect how I deal with this struggle. If who I am as a person is, I'm a person that's persistent. I'm a person that shows up. I'm a person that serves others. I'm a person that takes care of my kids. I'm a person that is reliable and honest, and I have integrity. And this is how I see myself and how I see my self identity, then that's how I'm going to show up in the struggle. Right? If you believe what you say you believe about yourself and about life and about God or the universe or whatever that thing bigger than you is, if you believe what you say about those things, then that's how you show up in the moment of crisis, right? So days I'm struggling, my identity, like I said, is in Christ. So how do I show up on days that I'm struggling? Well, sometimes a lot of tears, but aside from that, I'm praying. I'm meditating on Bible verses. I'm listening to worship music, right? I'm doing things that are in line with what my self-identity is and how I see myself as showing up in these struggles. And, one of the amazing things about this when you're dealing with child custody issues is kids see so much of what we do. And, they always say, it's not what you say, it's what you do. That's what your kids internalize. And I think as your kids get older, you realize that more and more. My oldest child is 32. And so I can see more and more how what I did impacted the person that he is, as opposed to necessarily what I always said, which didn't get through so much. And so you have to remember that things you're going through now, your children are going to witness you going through this, and then they're going to go through their own struggles in life, right? Because let's face it, life is not pain-free. Part of what we're trying to do for our children when they're young is to create that identity, create that stability, create that knowledge and self-confidence in knowing who they are so that they can weather the storms of life, because the storms are going to come. We can't prevent that for them. By modeling for them, this is how you show up in a crisis. This is how you deal with difficult people. This is how you draw boundaries when someone is putting you in a situation that's unhealthy for yourself. And you can model all of those things for your children and be a positive impact, have a positive impact, be a positive person, and have a positive impact despite what you're currently going through and struggling with. Ultimately, if in parenting, that's our goal, right? To raise self-functioning, self-confident children with high self-esteem that have the ability to go through life and to handle what life throws at them. You're not always going to be here. You're not always going to be present for all of their life struggles. And if they go through a situation where they're divorced or they lose a spouse or a child or any of the things that you have gone through in your own life, then they're going to look back and they're going to remember. I hope my children can look back and say, if either one of them lose their spouse, which I hope they never do, but some person has to go first usually. So it's a 50-50 chance that they will. And so if they lose their spouses first, I hope they can look back and say, look, this is how mom dealt with this. This is how she weathered that storm. And this is how she kept her faith and followed through on the person that she is. Because so many people struggle with this. And when the storm hits, instead of being true to their identity, they go off and they try to fill themselves their holes with other things, or they try to distract themselves from the struggle that they're in. If you're struggling with a narcissistic ex or any of those things, you might be having a little too much wine on some of the nights, or the nights that your kids are gone, or maybe you're vegging out in front of the TV and eating your favorite snacks, or whatever it is that you're doing. You could be doing those types of distractions in order to keep you from having to face the fact that you're not living in line with your own self-identity. The more that you can do this, the stronger you're going to be, and the stronger that your kids are going to see you be, and the better it's going to be for all of you, and the more chance you have of being able to create that happy, stable environment in your world for your children. I hope this encourages you in the struggle. I know it can be really frustrating and can really make you feel hopeless some days, but you hang in there, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. This is only a season. Now, if you'd like to learn more about my coaching services, you can go to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. And there's a button on there where you can sign up for a free strategy session with me. I'd love to talk to you and learn about how I might be able to support you in this process. I'll see you in the next video.